Alrighty, boys. Listen, we have a new update. Dun, 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 dun. Not like an update you can download, though. Relax. We have more dev comments, more dev replies, alright? More news in that way. And we have the dev quoting himself a lot. So we're going to read through all of this. We're going to see what it's all about. And we're going to see what the community has to say. As you can see, listen to the community. I like how his profile picture is also a man screaming. So this really I like that. That is good. That's good role play. But listen, let's go over what they have to say and let's see what is happening. By the way, there's some movement on the SteamDB page. As you can see, there is an internal test. By the way, you might be thinking, is this the move for 1.2 to go to live? No. In my previous video, we did go over the devs saying that, let me just pull this up real quick. The devs saying that, unfortunately, to not expect 1.2 to move to live this month. As you can see right over here, we did go over this in the last video. If you want to go check out the last video, I dropped it yesterday, or I think it's going to be 2 days whenever I do drop this video. But if you want to go check that out, first link down below in the description. That one goes over this and also other things the devs had to say since the beginning of October. But right now we're on October 20th, and we have some more news. Got some more news. And by the way, it's not dropping this month, but a beta will drop this month. 1.2.5 is what it's looking like. When will it drop? Probably next week is what I'm feeling. But we will see when it goes down. Now, moving on. Let's see what the devs have to say over here. So a person said, first he said, I know that you, Terrorwolves in general, is reluctant to give a reason as to why. I'm guessing he's talking about the reason why 1.2 is still not moved to live. They have given reasons. It's just players want, well, not players, people on the forums want the exact reason, which unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, they probably aren't going to give since they're a company and they can't just give out every single, everything that's going on in terms of information. And I know what players are going to say. Oh, but this game and this game done that before in the past. I don't believe it. I don't think there's been a game company in the world that has been like 100% transparent and been like, this is exactly what's happening. This is how we're going to fix it. And this is how we're going to do it. And if you can show me a company like that, please do. I still have not seen them, unfortunately. But. And yeah, and the reasons they gave before was the fact that there's some blocker issue, there's some multiplayer issues, and there's some stability issues when it comes to the move from beta to live. Something of that nature. That's kind of what they said. Yes, it's vague, but they are still pointing out there is stuff blocking from making that change, which is, you know what I mean? Like, what else can you really say about it? Next, they say, well, no, not next. They replied to that as, I actually shared notes on why a couple of times. A few relatively recent ones are, and here we go. This is him repeating it, so let's kind of go over it, okay? So people can know why it's going on. So first, he states, the beta will go to the live branch and consoles after consoles at Xbox, PlayStation. Still can't say it. Xbox, PlayStation. Please. After the no multiplayer console... Stop saying it, because I'm going to keep reading it wrong. And compliance issues have been resolved, translations are completed, and issues identified during beta have been fixed. There'll be more hot fixes before we reach that point. There it is. That's one of them. The recent beta multiplayer test event with the community also helped identify issues that require resolution. There you go. Then he also quoted himself again saying, our release process comes down to the following. Complete required content for a release. Pass baseline internal check, release to beta, resolve issues that are already known or identified at this point internally / by the community, complete other cross-platform requirements, release requirements, localization, release check, certification, and then full cross-platform release to live. There it is. That's how it works. So first, obviously, get the content, pass the check, release to beta, resolve issues with beta, complete another check, then release to live. Very simple. Now, we are currently in the stage, I guess out of the 6, we're in stage 6. No, I can't. Hold on. Out of the 6, we are on stage 5. We are on the the complete the check before we release to live. And there are problems that are pretty much need to be fixed before the full release to live, and therefore Xbox and PlayStation players will get their updates. And most of the people are waiting for the cheats on Xbox and PlayStation, so that is when that will happen. Currently, we're literally in the last step of this process. Okay. Then he continues with 1.2.x. We opted for an earlier beta release as that allows us to collect and respond to a broader range of community feedback rather than just critical items. Currently, we still have outstanding issues we want to resolve, and we will likely take further steps on the identification front as well. In other words, the release to live may appear to take longer than usual, but most of that currently comes down to an earlier public release. Personally, I hope you will continue for a comparatively earlier beta release. There it is. So they said they kind of released it kind of a little bit too early, but they kind of like that because they have more time and more feedback to fix the issues. Obviously, the community does not like that, but that is what they opted to do. And to be honest with you, it is what it is. What can we really do about it? I'll be honest with you. Next, they continue by saying, once the outstanding known issues, I think he meant to say issues here, as I stated before, as well as any newly identified blockers have been resolved, this concerns stability, performance, and modding items, as well as more specific bugs and balancing efforts for both multiplayer and single player. There you go. So those are the times that he did mention it. As I stated before, they did mention it a couple of times. Now, back to the present. He says, as of now, we are still resolving known issues. The most basic why is simply that we don't want to release a version with known critical issues to live. In some cases, we may also take a few more days to adjust functionality or address non-critical bugs that the community highlights, so we don't need to wait for another patch cycle. There it is. So there are still issues. The issues are probably taking a little bit longer than usual, obviously. And, you know, I'm going to give my 2 cents on it. Sometimes, listen, I took a bit of coding classes in my little tenure in college. You know what I mean? I didn't fully pass college, but I did go to college for a couple of years. Unfortunately, I live in America, and my student loans malfunctioned, and therefore I was not able to take any more classes until I paid all of them off. Great country we live in. Regardless, I did take some computer science classes and some coding classes, and I'll be honest with you, from my little experience, I learned that some issues might take you 2 seconds to fix, and some issues might take you 3 weeks to fix. And sometimes it's not as simple as it looks, and obviously in a game that's as complex and as vast as Bannerlord, or, you know, any real like AAA or whatever, they're all very, very, there's so much code involved. There's so much involved, and especially in a sandbox game where stuff has to work without the player actually doing anything. There's so much code involved, and sometimes it does take longer than expected. Sometimes you might fix a part of the code, and guess what? You break 3 different things in the process of that fix, and then you have to fix the 3 different things. And once you fix the 3 different things, you might cause 10 more different problems. It does happen. Obviously, no one wants to, no one's going to believe me, and they're going to be like, no, these issues, 10 minutes max, 10 minutes max. But unfortunately, sometimes this stuff does take longer than expected. I'm not saying that I'm like, you know, oh, I'm joyful that this is taking longer than expected. No, my job is to provide content for you guys on updates for Bannerlord. So I'll be honest with you. I want more updates to come out, and I want them to come out faster. It's very simple. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure them as the developers, they want it to come out too, because, you know, they develop the game. The faster they get these updates out, the more players are going to be interested, the more players are going to play, and then guess what? The more sales are going to happen for the company. You know, it's like, I feel like some people that are fighting like this whole concept of like, oh, this is bad, oh, they don't want to release anything. It's like, but why? You ever thought about that? What's the reason? It doesn't make sense. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense from a business standpoint. It doesn't make sense from a developer standpoint. I feel like it's just a one-way battle, if that kind of makes sense. But then we have, we have the same person saying, but could you answer if 1.3 is being worked on? Yes, I already know the answer to this. They are still producing further content, and they're going to do it for the foreseeable future until they probably make a post and say, hey, I think we're at a good place where we're going to stop making future content for the game. But they still have not announced anything of that sort. So yes, they are still doing, development. And then Dev Response says, sure, we continue the development approach that was discussed in post-release plans. Yes, there's still a lot of stuff that is not done in that post-release plans. I might do another update video on the post-release plans. I've done a couple of them already, but I'll probably do it once we get the new beta. Once we do get beta 1.3, I'll probably go back and check out the release plans to see what has changed, what else we still need, and what's going on. Next, we have a player asking, is it possible to split the update and bring cheats to the console in its own patch? This was already discussed before. A player already asked this before, and they pretty much stated that while it's possible, it just doesn't really make much sense. It splits stuff a little bit too much, and it doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? It kind of makes sense for the players who want it, obviously, but unfortunately, in the whole scheme of things, it'll be too many patches, too much things to look through, and people will get confused and still be pretty frustrated. That's how they kind of explained it before. But the developer says it's possible in principle, but will only satisfy a subset of users and cause overall delay to the fixed costs associated with the release process. There you go, a little what I just said. Still, if there are major delays, I'll be happy to bring it up for consideration. There you go. So it might happen. If the delays continue further and further, then they might do that. Next, we have a person saying, and this is the last one, I know that you're not the community guy, but do you know if there's any word of a further development plans or something similar to what is intended after 1.3? Even if the plan is to stop developing the game further via content patches or DLC, it would be helpful to share it. I assume that the game will still be receiving bug and performance fixes after development stops. I don't know why people keep doing this, where they just get something in their head and they just keep... My brother... If someone tells you, right, how can I explain this? What's a good analogy for this? Let's say, for example, you go to a store. You're like, what is your hours of operation, right? And they tell you, we close every day at 10 p.m., right? Do you come back in every day and you're like, hey, are you guys closing at 9 p.m. this time? Or are you guys closing at 8 p.m. this time? Oh, no. It would be better if the let's say you go to the manager, you say, when do you guys close? And the manager says, we close at 10 unless, we will change the time and we will put it on the door if the time is changed. You know what I mean? We'll give you notice, right? Or we'll stick a note on the front door that says, hey, we closed early. But then you keep coming back every single day and you're like, hey, guys, I'm back again. So do you guys still close at 10 or do you guys close at 8 now? And then you keep doing that day after day, and you get the same response day after day. My brother, I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but if they stated before plenty of times that yes, development will continue until we make a post or until we let the community know that we're done developing, then you don't have to ask the same question over and over again. It's like, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy who asked it before, because I see his name a lot on the forum. So it's like, my brother. I'm sorry, but come on, man. I'm just saying, and I know every time I say something, everyone wants to pretend like I'm being rude or I'm being inconsiderate or something, but it's like, my brother, this is common sense logic over here. You know what I mean? If someone told you a couple of times that this is what's gonna happen, just take them by what they say. I don't know. Maybe I'm living on a different world. I don't know. But I have no issue with it. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Come on now. But the developer responds and says, the broad strokes that were previously discussed are that we will explore both DLCs and further base game content additions. Yes. And then, obviously, he says what he says in the past. Let's kind of quickly go over it. He says, overall, there are many more ideas that we are keen to explore as part of our regular developments. Some of these are smaller topics like balance tweaks or auto battle resolution, companion variety, rating, settlement projects, or multiplayer classes and modes. Other concerns, improvements to control schemes and haptic feedback, modding tools, multiplayer taunts and maps. diplomacy decision making, the clan kingdom life cycle, the mission atmosphere and weather system, as well as a variety of quality of life changes as party member sorting, and yet others will be more involved, such as claimant quests and multiplayer spectator mode. There you go. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff that is still to come. You know what I mean? That is a bunch of stuff. And then to address the elephant in the room, and I like how you used elephant. I'll be honest with the developers, I am still mad at you a lot. Where are the elephants? You say the elephants are in the room. Where? What room? Where are the elephants? Please! Put some elephants in the game! Please! I'm sorry. I'm getting too emotional. I think we should have some dude on an elephant. Just come on. Come on. Just put it in there. Okay. To address the elephant in the room and some of the questions that came with it, we are certainly also open to DLCs, as they are a great way to provide you with additional content that does not fit the base game scope. Yes, please make a DLC as well, so I could, you know what I mean, make like 300,000 videos about it. Please. Having said that, it will be some time before we release any DLC. It will be a gradual shift in development. It will not be mutually exclusive to the base game. We'll also provide to continue to receive updates. And I think they should make a DLC, because the DLCs for Warband were very well received. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Do that, please. As sentiments to that, there's no particular DLC that we want to announce right now. However, you're observing and discussing many topics that you are passionate about. In this regard, we also want to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone that has supported us throughout the early access period. The game has come a long way, and it wouldn't be possible without you and your passions for Mountain Blade. Blah, 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 blah. And they pretty much just said, you know, like the little corporate speak of thank you so much. All right. And I think that is about it. Did they post anything new since I have started recording? No, they have not. There you go. So that is pretty much the news so far. Again, we have some SteamDB movement 2 days ago. Internal test A. What does that mean? I don't know. But usually before they do tests, you have new patches that come after that. So hopefully we get the new beta 1.2.5 soon off of this. And yeah, stick around. I will obviously cover it. And yeah, that is about it. So as we talked about, I'm gonna quickly summarize what we talked about. We got SteamDB movement. Next, with the patch 1.2 will not go to live until probably next month. It will not happen this month. We will probably receive a new beta update first, probably next week, hopefully. And in terms of DLC and future content, we should see it maybe. Well, not future content. Future content is definitely coming. But in terms of DLC, that is a maybe. But obviously that will come a lot farther down the line. And in terms of what the issues are, it's already been stated plenty of times. There are issues blocking, and we are on step 5 of the 6-part step whenever what's called a beta is released, all the way until when the beta moves to live. All right, so we're almost there. How long it's going to take, who knows, but I will keep you updated, okay? That's going to do for me, and I'll see you in the next one.